Let's get this show on the road already. Let's get this show on the road. Friends, family, everyone, thank you for tuning in to another great episode of the Arrington Gavin podcast. I am your host, your friend, homie, Arrington Gavin, coming to you on this awesome Wednesday. Um, yeah, just feeling awesome. Again, continuing to get better and better. I told you last week I was kind of going through a little cold, still recovering slightly. Just a lot of mucus build up. So every time if I laugh too hard, I cough up I kind of cough up some mucus here and there. Um, but besides that, I cannot complain. Oh, hold on, got a little cough coming right now. But I am doing better, blessed as always. Coming to you with new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time via podcast, so wherever you get your podcast from. Also 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time via YouTube, Facebook. What else are we on? You can catch us on Twitter as well, well, X. And we just continue to try and spread the word out of this podcast. This is something I enjoy doing. All my programs that I'm involved in, I always have a blast doing. But this podcast it's my baby. I'm one-on-one with y'all. You know how much I love to have conversations with you all, and just we discuss some trending stories, topics, discussions going on. I give you my unfiltered opinion on them. Here and there, I might throw out some business and entrepreneurship tips that's helped me along the way to to you, the up and coming a business owner or whoever wants to invest in themselves. And I also bring on some great uh guests, man, which I enjoy having individuals that are doing great things in the community, great things in their line of work, people that have awesome stories that I believe that needs to be shared out to the rafters. So I always have them. It's always a place here on the pod for them. What else? What else, man? Today's just been an awesome day. Yesterday I was actually at the radio station WNSB Hot 91. Shout out, because it is membership drive. And for those who are probably wondering, what is membership drive? Membership drive is a 3-day event that happens on the station. It's just a time of giving, a type of event where we ask the community and listeners to donate anything. No donation is too small. Donate to the radio station because it is public radio. It's it's publicly owned. So the community continues to keep that station uplifted and afloat. And WNSB is going on 43 years. It's a staple in the Hampton Roads community, and it has grown some of the most successful individuals in media. Some people that I personally know. I'm honored to have a weekly show on there every Sundays at 12 p.m. in your city, hosted by myself, comedian Ciroc Fox, and host queen Michelle Young. Yeah, had to shout that out. But it's the staple where not only people can hear some great music and the next artist, the rising star, because they're big on supporting independent and local artists. But also staying informed what's happening on in the community. This year, we continue to keep them informed. With election season, my friend Dr. Eric Clavel, host of the State of the Water and also the Clavel Report, keeps everybody afloat in the political scene going on in the local and state. And it's just awesome. It's awesome. It's an awesome time. So I was there yesterday with my brother and good friend DJ Scandalous, who's been at that station well over 10 years. He hosts his own show Monday through Fridays. I want to say from 4 to 6 or 2 to 6. I could be wrong, but he's on there. Has been doing some great stuff. Just great, great, awesome DJ too. And it was a lot of fun. So that was that. Today on this Wednesday, I'm here chopping it up with you all on some interesting stories I had to share with you. Let's see. Oh, this show is presented by uh Rugged Evolution Beard Care. Rugged is the new smooth. Be sure to check them out. RuggedEvo.com. It's an awesome beard care brand. You can kind of see how my beard is glistening, nice texture and color. That's all Rugged Evolution, baby. That's all Rugged Evolution. So be sure to check them out and yeah, support. Let's get it going with the first story because I was reading about a college football coach by the name of Jimbo Fisher. Now, I remember Jimbo Fisher when he was coaching at Florida State. Very successful coach, doing big things. Signed a big contract with Texas A&M, and recently he got fired. He had got fired, and the funny thing is, college coaches, college football coaches, especially on the larger big time sports schools, their money is guaranteed. So if you fire them, then you have to do a buyout and still give them their money, regardless. If they sign a 10-year deal and he only did great 1 year and they fired him after that first year, you still got to pay the person that money. So Jimbo Fisher's his record contract, $76 million contract buyout. He was recently fired and accounts for more than a half of approximately 146 million Power 5 schools owe to fired head coaches since the start of the 2022 season. Now, this is an article I'm reading right now from ESPN, and Fisher's buyout nearly tripled the highest known contract, it says here. Let's see. In 2020, a buyout of Auburn's coach Gus Malzahn, which cost $21.7 million. I mean, it is what it is in a sense, guys. I guess the reason why I'm talking about this not only is because Jimbo is making history on the wrong scale. He's making history after getting fired, but he's getting a huge ass pay raise or pay buyout. But I think my thing is like I there's still people out there that has issue with collegiate athletes and the whole NIL, the name, image, and likeness, right? They have issues with college athletes receiving money while also receiving scholarship. And what I have to say to them, I would say first and foremost, at first I was iffy. I wasn't totally against it, but I had iffy moments because I was a college kid that was not an athlete. I was a student, and on my lenses, I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't get any former scholarship. You guys have a scholarship, so what's wrong with that? Why are you asking for money? You technically getting paid through your scholarship. You know, uh, uh, education, tuition covered. You get meals, free merch. What else do you get? Um, Here and there, you get tutors and all this other benefits. And this doesn't happen at all universities. This doesn't happen at all universities. This happens at mainly the bigger scale universities. Some of small ones do have certain benefits, but I remember because I was friends with all my close friends were collegiate athletes. My wife, girlfriend at the time, she was a collegiate athlete, and if you're in a smaller school, and there really wasn't too many benefits being a college athlete there. You still had to make sure that work was done on time. You might have some leniency as far as like if you turn it in late, things like that. But it was a struggle being a collegiate athlete, a student athlete. And I remember a professor telling me, is it athlete student first or is it student athlete? Which one is the most important one? And of course, we all didn't, wake up, yesterday. We know exactly what that means. We know exactly how universities and colleges role when it comes to their bread and butter. Universities do not make their big source of income from just students and their and their tuition. No, when it comes to, if you have a successful athletic program, that helps with enrollment rate, that help keeps you still popular, keeps you in the limelight. All that money is always I would say brought in by student athletes. When it comes to donors, there's donors that has no relationship with some universities, but if they are a fan of their basketball program or a fan of their football program, they're gonna be like, "Hey, look, I'm gonna donate some money to y'all. You need some assistance. I'm in. It's all good." I mean, think of Deion Sanders, perfect example. Deion Sanders brings on so many stars and celebrities to Colorado football games, even though they're not doing so well right now. I think the last time I checked, they were 4-6. But he brings on so many celebrities to their games. He brings on so many possible, donors to help. Hey, can you donate to this program, this and that and the other? Because each coach, they have an objective. They need to have a certain budget or some money they need to bring in. But I get sick and tired of hearing people still dispute the NIL. Pay these athletes their money, and I even change it up a little bit. Pay the educators a fair share in their in on their salaries, because I guarantee there's a college professors out there that are wishing that know that their money is not well worth. I mean, of course, the outcome of being a professor is great on paper, doing what you love, seeing, helping students succeed and thrive for their future, but they're in well deserves of a pay raise, because when I'm looking at these contracts, so they have a list of all okay, um past coaches in the year 2020 that have got fired that had some buyouts. So number one, they have here on this list, Brian Harrison fired by Auburn in October of 2022, 15.5 million. 15.5 million for Scott Frost, fired from Nebraska in September of 2022. 11.4 million buyout for I think it's Jeff Collins, fired from Georgia Tech in September 2022. 11 million for Paul Christ, I think this is his last name, fired from Wisconsin in October 2022. $8.7 million by Carl Doro, fired from Colorado in October of 2022. $4.4 million for Herm Edwards, fired from Arizona State in September of 2022, and then $4 million from for Zach Arnett from Mississippi. He was fired from Mississippi State this past Monday. And now, of course, Jimbo Fisher, which I have yet to see what the overall record was. But again, people are excluding the fact they could care less about the the record. Let's talk about that paper. Okay. $76 million buyout. 76. Hold on, real quick. I'm gonna try and look up what his record was, because I'm just curious. Let's see here. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay. Do 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 do. Okay. Overall record still great. 128 wins, 48 losses. Let's look at that coaching record. What he's at. Texas A&M. Uh, overall his tenure at Texas A&M, it looks like they were they 45? No, 45-25 in his. He was there from 2018. Okay, he signed in 2018 to them. His best season, it looks like, was in 2020, 9-1. Uh, lately it's kind of been chopping down at and recently it was 6-4, 4-3 in the conference, Western Conference. Uh, I mean, is that worth getting fired? No, but at the end of the day, who's the big winner in this one? If you think about it, who is the winner in this one? $76 million, so I can sit on my butt and just watch time go by. Shoot, that's more like a win for Jimbo, in my opinion. Now the question is, will he continue to coach? He's still fairly young in coaching. In the coaching age, he's not an old guy. There's lately been a lot of coaches, kind of not giving up, but retiring at an earlier age, maybe like mid 60s, early 60s. Even in their late 50s, they just say, "Hey, look, I've been coaching for a minute. It's a hard job. I'll move on to the next one." But yeah, it's just this is a pretty thing, kind of bring that conversation amongst friends. Like, okay, what's your thoughts on collegiate coaches' salaries? Salaries. So in comparison to the educators, what what is your thoughts on, excuse me, college coaches salaries? Is it fair that they make a huge amount of money compared to an educator there? Or is it not fair? What's your thoughts? Again, share, comment, leave a comment on my YouTube page. Our Smooth Club Media is my YouTube channel. Leave a comment. You can DM me at Arrington Gavin on social media on IG, or our Smooth Club Media on Instagram. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. But I'm gonna be moving on to another story that actually, I'm very sad about this one, y'all. Very sad about this one, and I'm gonna tell you why I'm sad about this one. Because if I can pull it up, in the Hampton Roads area, I would say, we're known for a lot of things. One of the things that I would say Hampton Roads is known for, Hampton Roads being the seven cities: Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Suffolk, Portsmouth, Newport News, Hampton. Am I missing anything? Um, there was that 7-6, Williamsburg, maybe. Hold on, now I got to start this all over. Okay, the seven cities: Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Suffolk, Hampton, Newport News. Damn, I'm about to be stuck on this all day. Okay, I'll just start with this: Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, Norfolk, bam, Hampton, Portsmouth, Newport News, probably Williamsburg. Okay, so yeah, Williamsburg. Um, in the seven cities, we have a lot of breweries. Lot of breweries. In Norfolk alone, I mean, there's a slew of breweries. I don't know why, because uh uh not everybody here are beer heads. I mean, I enjoy just going there just to hang with friends, but if I mean, I prefer them selling more than just other stuff than just beer. I guess it's great for for people that come to visit the area, things like that. It still bugs me because I'm like, it's like breweries galore. Um, but there was a brewery that opened up in Hampton, Virginia, in a historic area called Phoebus. And fun fact about Phoebus, you probably heard that name in the news recently, because Phoebus High School played. They had a playoff football game, and they beat the school like 104-0. I'm not lying. Look it up. Phoebus High School, their football team, 104-0 in a playoff game. Y'all. So anyway, in the Phoebus area in Hampton, Virginia, there was a brewery called 1865 Brewery Company. It was the first black-owned brewery in Hampton Roads. And the reason why it's sad is because it was announced that it was going to be closing down after 2 years. Now, I'm reading this article on uh our local news station, WVEC, channel 13 News Now, which is an ABC affiliate station. In this Facebook post, okay, they show 1865 Brewery Company's management said it hasn't been able to establish a sustainable business model in the 2 years since opening. Now, I have been twice to the brewery for a couple events. One event was actually a campaign event for Congressman Bobby Scott. Long term long running uh Virginia congressman in the area, Bobby Scott. You can look him up as well. I was there the first time, and then the second time I was actually there as a guest on my friend Dr. Willard Maxwell's podcast called Bring That Smoke. Had a blast, awesome time, great vibe, great area. This when I and before I even read into this, I'm gonna tell you why it was extremely sad, because a pattern that I've seen just in my area, I don't know if this is abroad, but you can let me know your thoughts on that. Um, Black owned businesses not staying afloat for long. One thing I always love when I do hear about a black owned company that has been going on for generation to generation and generation, that's awesome, because it's a as a family owned, generational wealth, and it's great. But when I hear about businesses closing like after a year or 2 years, I'm like, what? And here's what blew my mind with this is when alcohol is involved. I'm sorry, y'all should at least be in existence for at least 5, 6 years, 7 years. I mean, places that sell alcohol stays open for long. Restaurants that have awful food, but they got a bar, stay open for long. Look, you think of here's all the things when I think of bars. If I want to celebrate, I'm gonna go to where the bar. If I'm going through a hard time, I'm gonna be like, hey, look, I need to grab a drink somewhere. Boom, go to the bar. If I want to have a gathering with some friends, boom, check out the bar. If I want to watch a football game, any sporting event, the bar, brewery. I mean, it's like, in the area, to me, is a growing area for for young people to get to enjoy. Nightlife is the last time I was there, it was thriving. Now, my friend and co-host Michelle Young, she had actually told me that there have been a couple of fights, or not a couple, but there have been multiple brawls and fights happening out there, and so that might be a reason why Phoebus is not growing the way they should. But it just breaks my heart to see in my opinion, a great black owned business that could not. And here's another thing: beer, in my opinion, is majority of their consumers are white. White people gonna love their alcohol. They gonna buy their beer. Okay. Now, black people are gonna support just because it's black owned. Even though if we don't like beer, we gonna support the hell out of that company. So my questions is now, okay, where did it where what went wrong? So let me read into a little more of this story. So it said the first black owned brewery in Hampton Roads announced it will be closing down after 2 years in business. Now, 1865 Brewery Company in Hampton announced the closure on Facebook post on Friday. They've said, along our journey, we've encountered the typical challenges faced by small businesses in any industry. The brewer's management wrote, regrettably, we haven't been able to establish a sustainable business model. Wonder what that sustainable business model is. So, after carefully consideration, we've decided to close our doors. The brewery opened on Mallory Street in July 2021 following several delays caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. It's close to Fort Monroe, which is a military base here, um, where the first documented Africans arrived in North America more than 400 years ago. It was named 1865 to honor the year that slavery was established in the United States. With the passing and ratification of the 13th Amendment, in the Facebook post, the brewery thanked everyone who supported the business while it was open and said it could return down the road. My fingers crossed, y'all, because I hope it does. If it does, I hope look come to Chesapeake, but or just come back to Hampton. While we may temporarily step back, please stay connected with us as you may see us reemerging in the future. The brewery wrote. Um, Again, seeing black men working together, opening that business, man, I was happy. So I truly hope that they continue um to stay strong and hopefully something comes up in the future. But yeah, that breaks my heart because it brings on the conversation too again, for black owned businesses, what struggles do black owned businesses have um when they don't stay afloat or when they don't stay open. And like again, I myself, I'm a business owner. I own a few businesses and run a nonprofit. And I have a lot of friends that have businesses and companies. And some of again, it's nothing wrong with starting something, closing it, starting something again. Because some people, I know people that's like that. They do that full time. Like they will have businesses, boom, after 5 years, close it, start a new one. Boom. After a few years, close it, start a new one. And it works for them. I mean, it works. They're entrepreneurs. They're entrepreneurs. Um, but again, you always have to ask the question, what can you learn from the last mistake? So I've always said, give yourself either a 5 year or even a 7 year plan, right? When it comes to your business, those being that give you that spaces, because when you immediately start a job, you don't expect to make money on day one. Don't expect to make money on the first year. Hell, don't expect money on the first 2 years. Now, if you luck up and do make money on the first 2 years, be sure to keep that momentum going for from time to time. Keep that consistency, keep that momentum coming, because you will have a dry period. That happens in all industries, whether if it's in real estate, whether if it's in the trucking industry, whether if it's in any occupation, a dry period will occur. So make sure you be prepared and be have backup plans. Okay, because I think that sometimes that also hurts businesses. Is like, okay, you're already mentally expecting to make this amount of money, but do you have your backup plan? Okay, well, what if we don't make this amount of money? Can we still stay afloat? What can we do to stay consistent and stay open? Um, Now I know I think there was like maybe 2 or 3 partners involved in this company. Again, it's great to hear that they said, hey, do not lose contact out of us, because we're going to continue to, something might come in the future. We're going to continue to stay afloat with this, because it's beer is very popular. Breweries are very popular in this area. Now I'm curious on you, the listeners of yours, because we have so many people that tune into this show from all over, really the world, not just in Virginia, not just in Hampton Roads. I mean, out of state, all around. And I'm very grateful for that, by the way. And our audience continues to grow. But um it's the fact of the matter is, we, as African Americans, y'all, we always have to make sure we dot our I's, cross our T's, make sure we do our homework. And what can we, when it comes to ownership, when it comes to business, when it comes to small, being a small business owner, keyword small. So sometimes you're gonna be short on staff. You gotta really get your have to get involved, make sure you hire the right people. Um, Making sure that when you do this, is this a right investment? Again, this brewery, in my opinion, had all the right signs. Small downtown area, right? So, and why I say that, because brick and mortar stores are slowly but surely starting to move away. They're slowly but surely trying to move away and and leave, right? What what the differences between a brick and mortar store, and I'm talking brick and mortar like in shopping centers, right? Shopping malls are, slowly but surely looking like ghost towns. Downtown areas is always going to be in existence because people always are going to be walking by in downtown areas. That's why it's considered a downtown. It's an area where you're always going to see majority of people walking by, walking on foot, and not in a car. The nightlife was great. Okay, even in the daytime, you saw a lot of people wander by. It's in a historic area. Historic meaning people are always going to be like, say, okay, let me drive through here, check out this historic area. So to me, it had all the right signs. It was not a massive brewery. It was a nice, small, convenient space. They even had another space to do events. Boom! You're having multiple ways of making money from this. So if it's a dry period when people are not coming in to dine in and have a beer and this and that, boom! You can put it out for parties, for events. They didn't just sell beer; they sold out other alcohols. Right? Not a lot of breweries will sell like liquors and vodkas, tequilas, and all that stuff. They usually just sell beer. They sold others, and guys, they also sold their own food. Now you don't have to worry about uh uh paying for a food truck because a lot of breweries usually say, "Hey, look, bring a food truck by, you going make your money there." So again, this one had all the right points. So again, I'm just, in my opinion, I hope I'm wrong, but I hope like ownership didn't have some kind of dispute and it wasn't going to work out or anything, because that's, again, it's a learning process when you do have partners in a business. You have to make sure that you are always on one accord. So it's something to think about, y'all. Just want to put my 2 cents in on that. I'm gonna move it on to another convo, but again, before I end this story, lesson learned: just always be prepared. Be prepared for the worst. Be prepared for the best opportunity. Just always make sure that the goal will be is to never close. Not especially in 2 years. I mean, come on, 2 years. It's Now, hey, they played it safe, so it won't be I guess a real bad for their investment. But 2 years is not good. So again, that's that. If y'all want to read up on this article of the 1865 Brewery Company, again, I'm on uh 13newsnow.com, and you can go in the search bar and type in 1865 Brewery Company. All right, guys, moving on to this story where I know everybody's excited about. Let me take a swig of water. The Hollywood strike are officially over. Okay, Hollywood strikes are both now over. This is articles reported by the Associated Press. As actors reach a deal with studios and return to work with writers. Whoo, whoo! I know y'all guys are happy. First of all, I'm gonna tell you why I'm happy, and honestly, I wasn't really like stressing over this writer strike, and I'm gonna tell you why. As a viewer, as a consumer of television, there's so much content. There's so much content. I was I'm just now like I'm watching a lot of like old shows. So I finished watching the Jamie Foxx show, the old Jamie Foxx show. Now I'm over here. I am binge watching. What am I binge watching? Oh, Living Singles. We are living singles. Ooh. All right, I'm done. Now that was a little bit of my voice right there. That's a little more voice. Um, yeah, I'm binge watching Living Singles, man, and I'm enjoying it. I'm always working so hard. I barely have time to really watch TV. I'm a news buff too, so I watch the news a lot. I actually have the news playing in the behind my camera at the moment. But yeah, the writer strike is off, which I'm happy because now people can finally get paid what they rightfully deserve, writers and actors. As you know, this strike had went on. Damn, I think this went on in May. I think this strike has started like in May, if I'm not mistaken, and went on like we're just now seeing it being resolved. So it said, okay, last Thursday, for the first time for more than 6 months, neither strikes actors nor writers will be on strike. So the long awaited clearing in the industry's stormiest season in decades comes as a deal was reached late Wednesday to end what was at nearly 4 months the longest strike ever for the film and television actors. Now, the 3-year contract must be approved by the board of the Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Arts, and its members in the coming days. But union leadership declared that the strike will end at approximately 12:01 a.m. on Thursday, putting all of the parts of production back into action for the first time since spring. Yeah, I mean, people were not working for 6 months. They had another pandemic. I mean, of course, the pandemic really was a year, but still, this was another pandemic for writers and actors out there. Why? Because corporate bigwigs that make billions and billions off the little people were not paying people what they rightfully deserved. I remember hearing the story about the creator of Squid Games, one of my favorite shows. The creator of Squid Games was so desperate on getting his amazing show to higher up, networks, because it took him 5 years to really pitch it to people. When Netflix finally took it, right? When Netflix finally said, "No, we're gonna take a leap of faith with that," he sold a lot of ownership of that show to them. You know how much that show made? That show. I think Netflix probably brought in almost $5 billion just off that show alone. Okay, ask me if that writer got any of that $5 billion, and that's the issue, and that's why this writer strike was so important. Um, Again, I'm excited. I know people were getting tired of watching reruns. They wanted to hurry up and get the new seasons of their favorite shows and whatnot. Um, So it's an exciting time. A lot of actors and have been, showing their excitement on social media. Kevin Bacon, famous from the show the movie Footloose. He was out there dancing his Footloose hit song and stuff like that on his social media. So it's an exciting time, and I'm happy that that strike is officially over and people can get to work and pay those bills, because living in California ain't cheap. Jesus, it ain't cheap. That's the place I can never live in California. Hell to the no. Beautiful place, but very expensive. Y'all get earthquakes. Y'all get a lot of stuff there. Yeah, I now not for me, Smalls, not for me. But again, excited about that. And we will, it's time to get ready for all of our shows, man. I'm already on the countdown. I think so I heard Good Burger 2 is coming out. Paramount Plus, I think November 20. I think they're on the 22nd. Also Squid Games season 2 is coming out. Very excited about that. I'm already putting down my list of shows that I'm going to be tuning in. So very excited about that. Let's see. Last but not least, y'all, last story of the show. So, as a fan of podcasts and shows, I'm a fan of so many political shows, entertainment shows, sports shows. One of my favorite shows that I used to tune in through YouTube was I Am Athlete. I Am Athlete, which was, I believe, created by Brandon Marshall, former NFL star and now sports analyst. Um, he was one of the founding members of this show, where it was him along with about 3 other professional athletes, and they just kick back, talk big discussions that happens on in sports. They've interviewed some of the top names in sports and entertainment, and it was a dope show. You had Brandon Marshall. When I started watching, it was Brandon Marshall, Chad Johnson, some Chad Ochocinco, Fred Taylor, Channing Crowder. Awesome group, awesome show. When it started very small during the pandemic, it was really just a few of them, because I think they all lived in the same neighborhood at the time, and they say, "Hey, man, we used to always visit each other." during the pandemic, we're like, man, we need to start this platform. We need to start the show. So it eventually grew. They had a few spinoffs. I think they had a Miami version. They eventually went on to sign a big contract with on Sirius XM with Mad Dog, the sports Chris Russo, his channel, and they had a show called I Am Athlete Tonight. So they were having some major growth. And suddenly, and they brought in new people. That sometimes they even had like Nate Young, NBA star. They had Adam Pac-Man Jones. It was dope. It was you just saw the show slowly but surely continue to success. Then all of a sudden, two of their main guys left, and they were a part of a new platform called the Pivot Podcast. And this was Channing Crowder, who Channing, I think, played about 7 years in the NFL with the Miami Dolphins. Fred Taylor played about 13 years running back, tough as nails. And then Ryan Clark, Super Bowl champion, played a great amount of years as well, defensive back. So they started this platform called the Pivot Podcast under another ownership, right? And that Pivot is my shit. I've been listening to Pivot. I still listen to it heavily. And I've enjoyed it, and they have some great commentary because you have a perfect balance of people. You have soft-spoken Fred Taylor, very smart, brings on great topics, but very soft-spoken, quiet. Channing Crowder, the wild one, wild boy. That's a wild dude, but he brings on the funny. You have Ryan Clark, the all-around just great talker, great commentator. He's awesome at what he does. Kind of holds the A mic in a sense. So somebody I always like to watch. He's one of the people I respect in media. I always kind of watch some of his styles and his speech and questions. I have a list of people that I always say, okay, look, I always take notes and learn more through that. But yeah, and I bring all that to say, y'all, because recently Brandon Marshall, he was on a let me see. He was on a show called Funky Fridays hosted by Cam Newton on his YouTube channel, on his platform. And he was just basically sharing his frustration with uh uh Fred Taylor and Ryan Clark and Channing Crowder, why the whole thing, you know, uh why it didn't work out, why the fallout and all this stuff. And it's tacky. It's extremely tacky. So this article right here is from the mensjournal.com, and it's titled Fred Taylor accuses I Am Athlete host Brandon Marshall of clout chasing tour. Because again, excuse me, Brandon Marshall is going on more than one show talking about why it's not him, it's them, and that's why it didn't work out. And here's the thing. Before you even watch it, you're like, okay, all this is some jealousy happening because let's be honest, when your two best guys jet go onto another platform and they succeed higher than I Am Athlete, now it's time to start talking mad junk about them so that people can start lowering their numbers and their viewerships and come on back to I Am Athlete platform. That's what it is. That's what it is, y'all. Because why? What's the reason behind you really wanting to share your thoughts about how you feel about them? Like, it doesn't make sense. It does not. It does not make sense. Now, see, here's the issue. I know so many other business owners that own their own beard care and their own men's grooming lines. And you know what? I'm excited and happy for them. And I want to continue to see them grow just as much as I hope they want to see me grow. Because here's the issue that we have in American people. It's always got to be a competition. Why can't we all win? Why can we all succeed? You win in numbers, right? My on another perfect example on the radio show. Our radio show airs every Sundays at 12 p.m. On WNSB. We have other shows like State of the Water, hosted by Dr. Eric Avell. He also has his own. He also has a show called The Clavel Report that airs on there. There's another show that's called We Sound Crazy. Check out the podcast; it's dope. Um, Cheryl Wilkerson has a show called On the Line with Cheryl Wilkerson. There's a bunch of shows up there, and I don't say, "Hey, look, their show sucks. Ours is better. That's all that matters." No, I'm a fan of every show on that Sunday. I'm a fan of every show on that station. Damn it. I was congratulating not too long ago Dr. Eric Lavelle because you know what? He had an interview. He nabbed an interview with none other than actress and philanthropist Kerry Washington. I couldn't be more happy for him. I could not be more happy for him because not only you got to think of this, you got to think of it. Not only is that great exposure for the station, but great exposure for what? The Sunday lineup. Because they're like, okay, if we're getting shows like this on Sundays, you know the other shows got to be just as good. Okay. Now, here's where Brandon Marshall fails. Brandon, you could be always congratulating them on their success and not be a hater because you don't know in the future there might be opportunity where it's like, okay, y'all could work together, or you might hit a time where it's like you're not getting good gigs, and you could be like, well, look, let me hit up Chad or Fred, and be like, hey, look, I have this idea. Your platform is large, and somehow I can pitch this to you guys. I'm serious. There's so many opportunities that you could be doing, but yet you're wasting your time trashing them because why? You think they're competition? Because why? Because they're thriving and your show's not doing so good. Initially, the platform, his platform was at a good standing point. Then it started to get real arrogancy. Like everybody wanted to be their own. Everybody wanted to be their own brand and wanted to be the top person and not the second or third place person. And I think that's where the issue comes into play because Chad Ochocinco was on there. Chad is doing great now with Shannon Sharp. They have a podcast going on. I think I forgot the name of it, but they have a podcast together, and it's growing. Okay, because why? Chad Ochocinco knows that Shannon Sharp is the big wig in sports right now when it comes to sports commentating and handling. He's one of the big wigs next to Stephen A. Smith. Easy, easy. Debate y'all anytime if y'all have an issue with that. And Chad said, well, you know what? I'll be honored to do a podcast with Shannon Sharp. He didn't say, well, look, I'm gonna be the A person in it. No, Chad's playing his cards right. Let me read a little more with this article. So it says former co-hosts of the popular sports podcast I Am Athlete Brandon Marshall, Fred Taylor, and Channing Crowder have taken shots at one another in recent podcast appearances, with Taylor accusing Marshall of being a clout chaser. Fred Taylor flat out said on his show, Brandon Marshall might be the biggest coward on the planet. Damn. Um, Marshall recently went on Cam's Newton's Funky Friday podcast, which I mentioned, and dove into the breakup, complimenting his rival's success while also spreading that Taylor would call lies on the financial situation and upsetting his former friend Crowder by talking about how he helped boost a podcast career with advice. Let's see. It's quoted by Crowder. He says, "Mother effer was acting like he made me." He said, "How do you make me when I made your podcast?" Ouch. Marshall has continued to talk about the breakup despite the split happening over a year ago. But before things got messy, the former co-host changed the sports podcast industry. In 2020, I Am Athlete took the sports media world by storm as one of the premier new media platforms where former athletes could interview other athletes in a comfortable space. Unfortunately, a financial dispute divided the original team. Shocker. Over money. Once again, after the group split, Crowder and Chandler recruited Ryan Clark from ESPN to create The Pivot, a podcast that has grown extremely successful in the same space as I Am Athlete uh, occupies. Now, I Am Athlete has now transitioned to Marshall conducting interviews independently. stepping away from the locker room camaraderie the podcast once offered. Despite Newton's best attempts to get both podcast teams to put aside their differences, it appears that reconciliation won't be happening anytime soon. You think? And I mean, and I'm not mad at Cam Newton because Cam knew what he was going to start. Cam knew it. This is no shocker that Cam is, look, Cam is also trying to build his platform. What he's doing is genius because it's adding viewership, is raising his ratings, is keeping people's they keep on mentioning Funky Fresh Friday, Funky Fresh Friday, Funky Fridays, Funky, like they're gonna keep on saying, hey, that was on Cam Newton. So he's genius of what he's doing. Genius. But at the end of the day, um, what you would do for ratings, right? It sucks, but that's the industry we live in. They, it's obviously not gonna be looking good for them, and it's gonna be a long standing, feud, I guess. Hopefully they can reconcile. It'll be nice to see that. Um, but again, we will see. I mean, I will say, like, the Pivot, the I'm Athlete, those shows, man, continue to grow so many other sports based podcasts. So, you have what is it? I believe it's called Vault, which is owned by no, I'm getting that man's podcast network all messed up. But Colin Cowherd owns a podcast network that consists of a lot of professional athletes that have their own podcast. Richard Sherman, I believe, is on there. Uh, 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 Draymond Green has his own podcast. So many outside of just that. I mean, I've seen the Kelsey brothers have their own podcast. So many people have their own podcast. Some former athletes, and they're succeeding and they're making a lot of money. So, again, shows like the Pivot, shows like I Am Athlete, definitely start. It wouldn't have started if it wasn't for I Am Athlete, but Brandon Marshall's going the wrong route, for starting all this beef. Again, it's the wrong thing to do, man. If you're trying to get ratings, don't trash other people's stuff in order to get viewership. That's just it makes you look it makes you look jealous. Makes you look jealous. Um, I will continue on this one because I probably even bring this up on the radio show possibly. But again, ladies and gents, I hope you all enjoyed this conversation with your friend, your homie, Arrington Gavin. I am Arrington Gavin, host of the Arrington Gavin podcast, coming to you again every Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time via podcast, wherever you get your podcast from. So Spotify, Apple, iHeart, Odyssey. There's a black-owned app that covers all black content, all black-owned content and black podcasters called Haterrade. Um, and they're awesome. So please check them out. You can check us out through there. And I truly appreciate it. Just continue to support the podcast. I'm gonna continue to do my best to bring on great content, some great interviews with you all, as well as yeah, I'm gonna continue to do my best to give y'all great content. Also, every Sundays I host a weekly radio show on WNSB 91.1 FM in your city with my homie comedians Rock Fox and my sis hustle queen Michelle Young. So be sure to tune in to that show. Um, got to shout out my producer, amazing producer Cam Godley. He's doing awesome, doing great things with Hybrid. Yeah, man, just continue to stay tuned. Follow me on all socials, Arrington Gavin or R Smooth Club Media. Um, yeah, that's all I got for y'all. Y'all, peace and blessings. Stay safe out there. Until next time.